Can you share with us how old you are?
I'm 40 years old.
40 years old?
Yeah.
And are you comfortable letting people know your name?
Yeah, it's Alexander Duran.
Alexander Duran, who is 40 years old, and what are your diagnoses?
Bipolar schizophrenia.
All right, and what is bipolar when you say bipolar?
Ups and downs, feeling real high, feeling real low. Since I started going to church, it's kind of mostly highs. The lows are mostly gone. I'm not depressed anymore. I can function right. You know what I mean? I tried to do without church, and it wasn't happening. You know what I mean? I was just out of it. You know what I mean? Completely out of it. But since I started going to church and stuff, had people praying for me and stuff. That's been the answer to my prayers. That's been the answer to my life. I'm able to hold down a job. I'm able to just like function right. You know what I mean?
What is it about church do you think that's giving you so much?
Just the prayers of the people. You know what I mean? Just like being involved with church activities keeps me busy.
And how often are you going?
About 3 times a week.
3 times a week. Okay. And what? So how long will you go? Will you go for the sermon or what? What is your
The
church?
preaching, last sermon I wasn't really feeling the preaching. I mean, I was like, I ain't feeling this guy at all. But sometimes they're all right on point. You know what I mean? They when they preach, but they're all about preaching. You know what I mean? So, but it's just the support, the spiritual support. You know what I mean? Speaking tongues.
Yeah.
They just pray for me. You know what I mean? Because I took a break, and the pastor was like, "You'll never make it back." He even flipped on me. You know what I mean? And I was like, "What the hell are you talking about? I'm gonna be back, man." He was like, "You'll never make it back," and I was like, "Whatever,
What does
man."
he mean by make it back? Make it back.
Like make it back to church. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now I'm going again. When I stopped going, I was hearing a lot of voices. I thought they were real voices.
And what would the voices say?
Man, just totally whole bunch of different stuff, man. Just like crazy stuff. You know what I mean? Like just like I can't even explain it, man. It was a nice ride though. You know what I mean? I really enjoyed it. There were some parts I didn't enjoy too much, but a lot of it I did enjoy.
So some parts of the voices you actually enjoy hearing the voices.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed hearing the
voices.
voices.
Sometimes you don't hear, but more often than not, you were enjoying them?
Yeah, I was enjoying them.
Can you give us just one example of something they might say?
Like forever.
And you would just hear it forever?
No, just hear forever. Like life's forever. It's gonna be like this forever. You know what I mean? It's not gonna be like an ending to it. It's gonna be forever. You know what I mean? I mean, God has it. His kingdom's forever, you know what I mean? I mean, this is just temporary, you know, kingdom's forever, you know what I mean? So they were like forever.
Mm-hmm. And who do you think the voice was?
I don't know.
And you don't recognize it whatsoever?
I got spit, man. Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
So that was just one example of that. There was just feeling good, you know what I mean? Just like compliments and just like you're doing good, you made it in life. You know what I mean? Just like
yeah. So your voices were positive.
Positive, really positive. I had a little bit of a negative reaction. Like I really enjoyed it. It was a nice ride. I mean, just like I really can't say too much about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like a lot of that stuff is personal. You know what I mean?
Sure,
so I just shared as much as I could with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's all good, bro. So you mentioned bipolar and schizophrenia are your 2 diagnoses. Tell me what your symptoms look like for schizophrenia.
I just did. That's
So just the voices, but you
yeah,
don't see nothing.
I don't see nothing. No, I feel good about it, and that's why I didn't feel too good about it. But then I just lost my mind. I went totally crazy.
Right.
Because I was sitting there laying on bed, and then they were like, I'm sorry, and I just went through a lot of suffering. You know what I mean? Like it hit me, and I was like, damn. I was like, this is crazy. I was like, man, this is crazy. And then I went into a psychotic episode, and I was just hearing voices left and right. You know what I mean?
And how long ago was your episode?
It was maybe like 2 days. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. You know what I mean? It was just, it was crazy, man. So they put me to the state hospital, not the state hospital, but Peakview in Colorado Springs.
Okay.
And I found my identity there, who I was, you know what I mean? Because I didn't need church, I didn't need any of that. I found out who I was, you know what I mean? And I was riding with that for a little bit, but it didn't work out. And I needed to go back to church for the prayers and the support and just the positive, you know what I mean? Just they look out for you, you know what I mean? They're like.
So, okay, so you're 40 now. So when were you first diagnosed with schizophrenia?
I can't even remember. It's been so long, man. 13 years at the state hospital, though.
So you would have been, so you've been at the state hospital since you were 27, but you think you were probably diagnosed before that with schizophrenia?
You know, and even when I went to church, I was still hearing voices, you know what I mean? And then I didn't say I backslid from church. I just kind of like drifted away, you know what I mean? Like I started doing a bunch of drugs, and that just increased the voices.
And what kind of drugs were you?
Acid, marijuana, mushrooms, all that, and that just intensified it.
Right.
And then I was hearing stuff, you know what I mean? I was going for walks, long walks and stuff, you know what I mean? I was just like hitting my brother with the belt, you know what I mean? And I was just like, I seen this bum one time. I seen like this dark entity, and I chained him, and I was yanking the chain like this, yank. And then this old guy came up to me, and I was like, yo, man, you want to go toes? He was like, nah, I'm too old. And I felt like he was the entity in the flesh. You know what I mean? And he came in the flesh. So I flipped on him, man. I said, get to the ground, don't look up. Get to the ground, don't look up at nobody. And he was just like sitting there. I was hitting him with the belt, bam, bam.
Yeah, so you lost your shit. I mean, you didn't know this guy, right?
I didn't know this guy. He was a bum.
And that was your schizophrenia, you think, just kind of making you paranoid about who he was?
Well, I was walking everywhere looking for him, you know what I mean? Because I knew he was talking to people, and I knew he was, you know what I mean? I knew he was spreading that bad vibe, you know what I mean? So I was looking for him, man. I was like, where the hell is this guy at? Then I finally seen a dark entity, and I was like, yeah, that's him. And I like chained him up, you know what I mean? I put chains on him, you know what I mean? And I was yanking the chain like this. Then the bum just showed up out of nowhere. So I think he came in the flesh. And then I was like, wow, I was like, this is crazy, you know what I mean? And then I kind of just sit there and just sat there with him, you know what I mean? And then I just...
Okay, Alex, wait, I'm kind of slow on stuff, so hold on. So when you say you had the dark entity in chains, what are you referring to?
Like an entity, you know what I mean? Like a dark entity, and then like...
And you had it physically chained up?
No, I didn't have him physically chained up. I like put like a binded him to something, you know what I mean? Like he was
bind. Like a spell or a curse?
No, it wasn't a curse, it's just a bind, you know what I mean? Like I just like binded him up, you know what I mean? And then he didn't like that, you know what I'm saying? Because they want to be free, you know what I mean? They want to roam the earth and mess with people, you know what I mean? So I was walking for a long time to find him, though, you know what I mean? So when I finally found him, I was like, hey, man, you're not going to be doing that no more. He was scared for his life, man. He was just freaking out, man. He was like, he thought I was going to kill him, you know what I mean?
Yeah, has anyone else met him before?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Has anyone else seen him before, do you know?
I don't think so.
Are you the only one that sees him, you think?
No, not the only one that sees him. I'm the only one that's seen him.
Seen him, okay. And when was the last time you saw him?
That's the last time I saw him. I think he learned his lesson now.
Wow, okay.
Just because they torment people. They persecute people. You know what I mean? I mean, they're like dark entities. You know what I mean? And they just go around the world persecuting people. You know what I mean? So when I finally found him, I was like, yeah, boy. I was like, I was like, you're not gonna do that no more, man. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna teach you a lesson. You know what I mean? But it was just a crazy episode. That's the first time I ever shared that with anybody, man. You know what I mean? That's the first time I ever.
Shit, you've been helping, bro. Shit, that's a very personal experience.
Yeah, man. It was crazy, man.
And you're cool. People on YouTube see that?
Yeah, I don't give a fuck, man.
Okay. So let me ask you. So then, how comfortable are you sharing with everybody the incident that led to you getting into the state hospital? Or is that something you want to keep private, or?
I got in a fight with some cops and they tased me.
Mm-hmm. And then you wound up in jail, or where did you go after? Where did the cops take you from there?
Mesa County Jail, and I flossed in there.
Okay, and then from the jail, did you go straight to the state hospital, or?
Yeah. We flew the first time, it was cool. The second time we drove when I was on the Trazepine, man, that was a horrible ride, man. I was tripping bad. And then
you said 13 years in the
state hospital. 13 years in the state hospital, man.
From the state hospital, you got discharged to, where did you get discharged?
Here.
To here. And where do you live now?
I live,
what is this place called?
Oakshire Commons.
Okay. So, and that's like an alternative care facility for people with any kind of like mental diagnosis, right?
Yeah. It's all spiritual. It's all spiritual. You know what I mean? We deal with spiritual stuff. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like just.
Can I ask you, what are some people's like misconceptions about your diagnoses?
I really don't care, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, basically, I don't care what they think about me. I know who I am. I know where I'm going. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not flipping out on people. You know what I mean? I'm not. I got me on the right meds. I'm trying to get more meds actually. But I really don't care. They can't even tell if I do have a mental illness. You know what I mean? If I don't tell nobody I have a mental illness though, you know what I mean? Sometimes I got the shakes, and I really don't care, man. You basically, you know what I mean, whatever they want to think, whatever they want to think, as long as they don't hurt me, you know what I mean? I'm good with that. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna hurt nobody. Even if I was to get in a fight, I'd probably take a couple for the team. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't be fighting nobody. You know what I mean? I'm a peaceful kind of dude. You know what I mean? Peaceful cat. You know what I mean? But just like. Yeah, man, just like I really don't care. My family loves me, you know what I mean? They show respect, you know what I mean? My church family loves me, you know what I mean? I mean, they accept me for who I am. They know where I got a mental illness, you know what I mean? Sometimes I make people uncomfortable by the way I talk to them and stuff, you know what I mean? But that's just part of the schizophrenia. I'm learning how to deal with people, you know what I mean? How to talk to people and stuff, you know what I mean? I mean, I'm learning my lessons about life, you know what I mean? Certain things about life that I'm learning.
How familiar are you with the medication you take?
I take Lamictal, clozapine. I take Lamictal, lithium, Fanapt, and Zyprexa. Man, that Zyprexa helps me sleep at night. It was an answered prayer. You know what I mean? So
Zyprexa was for you?
yeah, it was an answered prayer, man, straight up, because I couldn't sleep at night. I was like up all night, couldn't sleep, and this wasn't before the psychotic episode. This was before that. I was having a hard time sleeping, you know what I mean? And then the psychotic episode kicked in, and then I was like, I went to Peakview and they adjusted my meds perfectly. I mean, it was so nice to get some sleep. I love to sleep at night. Sometimes I want to stay up late, you know what I mean? But I can't because the meds kick in. I want to go smoke a cigar, you know what I mean? And just be like staying up a little late, you know what I mean? But I can't because my meds make me sleep. But I'd rather sleep than stay up all night and be entertained, you know what I mean?
For sure.
I wake up in the mornings, got some coffee brewing.
Yeah, what happens with you if you don't sleep well?
I just have a hard time. Like, I was a couple of days where I just couldn't sleep at all. And I had to go to work the next morning. So I had to really rely on God for that, you know what I mean? It's just bad, man, you know what I mean? You can't function, you know what I mean? You gotta start praying, you know what I mean? Ask God for help. And God always helps me, you know what I mean? God always comes through for me. I think out of all these experiences that I have, God's been kind of like just been there for me, you know what I mean? And then this last psychotic episode, I really just, God was so proud of me, you know, the way I handled it, you know what I mean? I mean, I didn't lose faith, you know what I mean? I kept the faith through the whole episode. Even when that bad thing happened to me, I still kept the faith, you know what I mean? So God was pleased, you know what I mean? God was pleased with that, you know what I mean? So
you've mentioned God and religion a lot.
It's not religion, man. It's relationship, you know what I mean? I know God. I pray every morning, you know what I mean? I know God. I hear His voice, you know what I mean? So if you're not hearing God's voice, you know what I mean? That's crazy, you know what I mean? If you're doing it on your own, if you ain't got a mental illness, you know what I mean? I mean, it's just crazy with it. So I'm kind of grateful for my mental illness because I got to know God more, you know what I mean? I get to hear God's voice. So that's been a blessing, man. I love God, man, with all my heart, man. Everything in me, I love God. I bless Him with all my soul, man. You know what I mean? I just got a relationship with Him. So I really don't do religion too much. Not a fan of religion at all, man. It kind of turns people away from God, you know what I mean? Yeah, man, but
what do you feel like has been the most important factor for you kind of recovering?
just God's hand on my life, man. You know what I mean? Just basically it comes down to, man, just relationship with God. I mean, I cherish that the most out of everything, more than my family, more than anything, man. Everything I do, you know what I mean? It's kind of just for Him, you know what I mean? I'm just like doing the walk, you know what I mean? Just like, so I'm just so grateful, man. You know what I mean? Just out of all the experiences that I had, the crazy experiences, it's been a good ride, man. It's been an excellent ride. I'm so grateful, man. When I first started going to church, I just felt God's salvation so strong, man, that it was amazing, man. it was like strong, man. I was like, oh my gosh, like
Can you tell
God,
us what that experience is like for people out there that haven't experienced something like that?
man, it's like everything you do, God's just blessing you. You know what I mean? Everything, you go to the bathroom, God's blessing you. You go to brush your teeth, God's blessing you. You know what I mean? It's like drink some water, God's blessing you. You
Now,
know
how
what
do
I
you
mean?
know it? How do you feel it as your experience?
It's the best high in the world, man. There's nothing even come close to it, man. I've done drugs, you know what I mean? I've been there, crystal meth, all that stuff doesn't even come close to what God's salvation is.
Really?
So when I kind of understand when I kind of turned away from it, I said I just want to take a break, told the pastor I just want to take a break. He flipped on me. He didn't even talk to me. He could have just talked to me about some stuff, you know what I mean? But he didn't. He called me and I didn't answer his phone call, you know what I mean? So maybe he was upset about that. But then I got another pastor, man. He's always there for me, driving me to church and stuff, you know what I mean? He's a good dude too. But they just get religious after a while, you know what I mean? After a while, they just like go through the motions, you know what I mean? They don't really get God to the fullest extent. He even said, he was like, I never feel God's salvation, but I know I'm saved. And I was like, wow, that's crazy, because I feel God's salvation, you know what I mean? And I was like, and I don't want that to end either, you know what I mean? So I was going, man, and then salvation kind of drifted off, you know what I mean? And I had to still work for it, and I was like, man, I don't want to work for it. I need to take a break anyways, as it is, because I was overwhelmed going to church 3 times a week. I mean, it was just crazy, you know what I mean? But just like getting back into it again, they're praying for me again, you know what I mean? I'm feeling it again, you know what I mean? Just being blessed, man.
What are you most grateful for?
God's a provider, straight up. He provided my every need, you know what I mean? The Bible says in Psalm 23, I shall not want, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I bless people, I give to people, you know what I mean? And I always comes back spiritually, mentally, physically, you know what I mean? It always comes back. So I'm a giver, you know what I mean? I mean, I might get a second job just to give to people, you know what I mean? But sometimes I kind of miss out on like things that I don't have, you know what I mean? Because I give it away. So I'm kind of working on that, you know what I mean? Like not give so much, you know what I mean? Not to give your whole, you know what I mean? I give money away like crazy, man, you know what I mean? And then I always have what I need though, you know what I mean? I mean, I always have what I need, just like being grateful for God, man, you know what I mean? I mean, I've been through hell, you know, hell and back, you know what I mean? I mean, I've been through some stuff, but I'm still so grateful for this life. I'm grateful for this nation, you know what I'm saying? This great America where we live at. It's beautiful, man. It's like the most beautiful thing ever, man, you know what I mean? I mean, it's land of the free, home of the brave, you know what I mean? We can do whatever the fuck we want to do, you know what I mean? I mean, we're free to do whatever the hell we want to do. We want to smoke cigarettes, we can smoke cigarettes. We want to drink alcohol, we can drink alcohol. We want to go to church, we can go to church, you know what I mean? I mean, we go for walks, we can go for a walk, you know what I mean? I mean, I'm just so grateful to be here in America, especially the city of Pueblo, because it's a peaceful city, you know what I mean? I mean, you don't get too much crime, you know what I mean? I don't know about too much crime, but I know this place where I'm living is peaceful, you know what I mean? I can go for a walk and not worry about being shot up or being killed, or, you know what I mean, people trying to steal my shoes, you know what I mean? None of that, you know what I mean? I go to the library, you know, I can go wherever I want to go here in Pueblo, you know what I mean? So I'm grateful for that too, you know what I mean? I don't live in like the slums or the projects, but I'm from the projects though. I mean, Utah, Salt Lake City, it wasn't too bad. I got in a couple fights here and there, you know what I mean? But it wasn't no shootings or nothing that crazy like that, you know what I mean? So I'm just grateful, man. I lived in some good places before, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. What was it like for you? So you said 13 years at the state hospital. What was it like after discharge? Because I imagine
It was heaven, man. I got my own TV, got my own fridge, I could buy stuff. I got allowance, like $179 allowance.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That went up from like 130 to like 100 to 179. So I deserve it. You know what I mean? I mean, I deserve everything that's coming to me, everything that's gonna come to me.
What would you give if you go back and hang out with 20-year-old Alex, what would you tell him?
Well, there was a time in my life I was doing yoga, I was stretching, I was meditating, I was getting girls, you know what I mean? I had a nice car, everything was good, you know what I mean? And then I got in a car accident, a girl died, her name was Esperanza. She died in a car accident. I woke up in the hospital, and so I lost all what I was doing, you know what I mean? I kind of got off on a bad track. I started doing Oxycontins, got addicted to drugs, started doing a lot of crystal meth, and just lost it. Then I went to church. I prayed. I was coming down off crystal meth, and I prayed. I was like, God, if you're real, I need to know. I need some help. You know what I mean? If you're real, let me know. Then I started seeing all kinds of things on the bus. People come up to me on the bus talking about God, seeing people. You know what I mean? Just like, damn. You know what I mean? Just running into people, they're telling me about God and stuff, and I'm like, damn, God is real. And I celebrated that day. I was like, yes, sir. I was like, God is real. And I know not only God is real, but God wants to help me. So yeah, man, so I started going to church, different churches, Mormon church, Christian churches. I was trying to find the truth. And then I got this flyer downstairs in the basement of my grandpa's house. I don't know how I got down there. So I looked at it and I was like, it was like flames all on the fire. I was like, what kind of church is this? You know what I mean? I was like, this is a crazy church. Then 5 people gave their testimonies how Jesus Christ changed their lives. And that's real to me. You know what I mean? You could say, talk to me all about God all you want, quote scripture. But when someone tells you how God changed their lives, that's the truth. You know what I mean? That's real. You know what I mean? So I started going to that church. Got locked in. You know what I mean? I really couldn't hold ministry down because I was never saved that much. I was really condemned about things that I was doing. You know what I mean? So I really never got, I was real honest with the pastor, and he kind of flipped on me a couple times. You know what I mean? He kind of rebuked me a couple times. Just like, then I kind of just drifted away. You know what I mean? Then I started doing a bunch of drugs. And that's when I started hearing a lot of voices.
You've shared quite a bit. What is something you wish kind of the world knew about you or your experience or who you are as a person?
Just to stay faithful, you know what I mean? I mean, it's hard to stay faithful and let everyone know it's going to be all right. You know what I mean? Even though it doesn't look like it's going to be all right, it's going to be all right. You know what I mean? God's a good God. You know what I mean? He's going to take care of us. He's all blessed up. When you mourn, God's going to comfort you. You know what I mean? I mean, just stay faithful, you know what I mean? Straight up. Do what you gotta do to get to know God. I mean, if you don't know God, I encourage you to start praying, you know what I mean? Ask God for help, ask God to help you. It doesn't happen overnight, you know what I mean? It takes time, but God will help you, you know what I mean? I mean, God helped me big time, you know what I mean? And I found my path in life, just stay faithful, you know what I mean? Even though I stopped going to church for like a little while, I still stayed faithful. You know what I mean? I mean, all these voices that I was hearing, and I mean, there were some bad voices, some crazy voices. You know what I mean? And there were some real good, pleasant voices too. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's good to hear. A lot of times, people, when you hear about voices, people always are like, "Oh no, they're negative," or they always say bad things to me. So it's kind of unique when you hear someone that says. And it almost sounds like you enjoyed your voices sometimes because they were saying positive things to you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and I learned how to deal with a lot of them too. You know what I mean? I mean, the Bible says, "Bless those who pray for those who persecute you." You know what I mean? So I started praying. First, I wanted revenge. I was like, "Hey, you know what?" I was like, "You do this to me, I'm gonna do that to you." You know what I mean? And then I thought about it, and I was like, "You know what? They're going through a hard time too, or whatever." You know what I mean? So I started praying for them, and then they really loved me. You know what I mean? Then they really turned.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, man, it was awesome, man. It was an awesome experience. So I'm just learning, you know what I mean?
Right.
Learn how
you made that switch though, because so many people, like, I just think it's natural human behavior to have that knee-jerk reaction of like, someone does me wrong, I want to go and do them wrong. So like, what do you think? What switched it for you?
Just reading the scriptures, you know what I mean? I mean, just like it would pop up, you know what I mean? Like I'll be like, okay, cool. I'll just bless them. You know, I'll pray for them. Bless those who curse. I mean, basically, Jesus got it all. Jesus got it all taken care of. You know what I mean? He died for the world. You know what I mean? I mean, that's everybody. You know what I mean? I mean, a lot of these scriptures I don't really agree with. You know what I mean? But I'm just going for the support right now. You know what I mean? Until I can learn to do it on my own. You know what I mean? I mean, I kind of don't want to leave church again, but if I'm overwhelmed like I was, I'll probably take a break again. You know what I mean? And then maybe maybe have another psychotic episode. You know what I mean? But this time I'll be more prepared for that. You know what I mean? And I know who to reach out to. You know what I mean? I know where God's at. I know everything. You know what I mean? So, but I don't want to go back to the hospital again though, because that place was bad, man. I mean, it was good. The food was good. The cigarette breaks were good, but it's just like boring. You know what I mean? Nothing to do, man. You know what I mean? But I know people, the taxpayers pay for that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm grateful. You know what I mean? I mean, they helped me big time. The church helped me. The Peak View helped me. Got me on the right meds. I tried to do it just on my own, but I couldn't do it on my own. You know what I mean? I need people praying for me. I need people helping me. I need God helping me. I was going to God by myself, you know what I mean? And it still wasn't working. So it just tells me that God has a destiny for me at that church, you know what I mean? So
What would you change about the state hospital as far as making it a better place for patients?
just food and more respect from the workers, you know what I mean? I mean, just like they hold people there too long, you know what I mean? It's all about financial and they got to get paid, you know what I mean? And all that's got to stop, you know what I mean? They need to be more aware of what they're doing. The only reason I got out of there because I had a sense of humor, you know what I mean? I mean, I was making them laugh at the meetings, you know what I mean? And I had favor with them, you know what I mean? So God helped me get out of there too, you know what I mean? Because I just had favor with people. I just have favor everywhere I go though. Here, and the boss is here, you know what I mean? I mean, working here, you know what I mean? They just love me, you know what I mean? Because I pray for them, you know what I mean? I just like work with them, you know what I mean? I mean, on another level, you know what I mean? But it's a lot easier with church than without church. It's a lot easier. I mean, there's some things I don't agree with, but I can probably work it out, you know what I mean? It's just like with prayer and stuff and reading the Bible and stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm just barely tapping into that, you know what I mean? I mean, I really don't have the full effect of what the Bible says, you know what I mean? But like I said, sometimes I don't agree with some of the stuff, you know what I mean? Like, just like certain things, certain scriptures, revelations, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Some of it's really, really good. Like I said, Jesus' teachings have really blessed me and helped me. You know, even straight up. You know what I mean? I mean, to the best. You know what I mean?
This thing shuts off after 30 minutes. Let me see where we're at with time. We have 2 minutes left. Is there anything else you feel like we've missed out, or anything else you feel like you need to share, or any like final thoughts that you feel like would be helpful for anyone out there listening?
Yeah, get to know God, man. Get to know Him. You know what I mean? I mean, He's amazing. I mean, sometimes it's kind of scary. You know what I mean? But that's just who He is. You know what I mean? I mean, if you can just, one thing I would say, if you can get to know Him, you know what I mean? The Bible says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." You know what I mean? So if you're poor, you know what I mean? I mean, get to know Him, ask for help. And you'll get help, especially in this nation, you know what I mean? I mean, in God we trust. It's on our coins, you know what I mean? I mean, it's a blessed nation, you know what I mean? No matter what you're going through, just know there's always hope.
Thanks, brother. Shit, I didn't know all this about you. I appreciate you sharing your story.
You're welcome, Sean.
Can I snag a picture for you for the thumbnail before we
Sure.
call it good?